y'all? This is Veil, Chainveil MTG, and today we have my buddy Logan, aka Eugene, who won our last gameplay video with Rionya, the Fire Dancer, and today we're gonna do his deck. So, would you like to tell us about your deck?
This beautiful lady right here.
That just steals wins out of nowhere.
Yeah, Dancer of Fire.
Damn.
I've dabbled a little bit with mono red in my days. I'm mainly a green player. But something that's always fascinated me, especially in the red sphere, is its like bursts.
How it just explodes out of nowhere.
It explodes out of nowhere, and its copy, because like blue is like a permanent copy, but red is, of course, being red, temporary.
The color of rage.
And
temporary card draw, temporary copies. Yeah. It's insane.
Delina Wild Mage has always been my favorite, but she's not quite good enough because she's an attack trigger to make a copy. But Rionya is so neat, and I decided to try her out. She's a little difficult. She was a little difficult to tweak because you're so divided in non-creature spells and creature spells. Because I also had an Orvar deck, and has the same problem because you want permanents to copy, but you also want things to copy the permanents. So trying to find a good divide. I believe I have 24 creatures and almost 40, I think, instants or sorceries.
According to your deck, let's unbox it, which will be in the description of this video.
Yeah.
You have 24 creatures.
24 creatures.
22 sorceries.
22 sorceries.
15 instances. For a total of 37 instances and sorceries.
Okay, so it's like a high number of instant and sorceries. So I'll get plenty of triggers. Usually I can get it to about 4 or 5 unless I'm like really popping off because I'm in mono red, so card draw is still a problem. But the biggest focus on this deck is let me show you the big whammies, which anytime I build a deck, big whammies are always what matter. So I'm going to first start off with something that I really didn't expect to be so good. Alright, so this is Verbal Flutist, which is really interesting with the myriad mechanic, but also getting multiple of them. I believe in the gameplay, I don't remember because there was one version of the gameplay that was, we forgot to start recording again, that I also won.
He went 2-0 that day. We took a break in recording our first game, and I messed up and forgot to hit the record button. Luckily, that second game was even a better game win than the first one.
But essentially, I believe I stole. I don't think it was your commander, but I stole a legendary creature.
Marwyn.
Yeah, Marwyn. I gave it Myriad, and then I made you sacrifice your real one, and then I swung at you with the actual token.
That deck, the elf deck I played against you that day, I've taken it apart since then because I played with you and some guys at the table primarily. You guys just don't let Tyvar ever touch the board, and so I had to just scrap the whole deck.
Yeah, it's because he's really powerful. But like these kind of effects are extremely crucial to the deck because taking control of creatures and untapping them, and then you could also lead into multiple combos. But this one was a sleeper for sure. Now another great one from Streets of New Capenna is Devilish Valet, which, let's just say if 5 of these entering the battlefield at the same time, big damage, and you would think I'm playing Gruul with how much damage I'm throwing at you. Now, the big winner and what led me to win the game is this lovely dragon here. He is a terror to play against.
Didn't you have 7 copies of him in that game?
Something like that.
It was above 5, under 10 copies, and it just...
I think I dealt like 30. I don't know.
You killed 2 players with Terror of the Peaks damage, and then the last player with 5-4 damage.
But this card is insane. I am a Gruul player at heart.
And mind.
And mind and play style. So this card is essentially screams Gruul, even though it's mono red, and that's what I utilize it as. Now, an insane synergy piece with my commander is Harmonic Prodigy, because guess what? Rionya is a wizard, and it's a triggered ability. So getting double Rionya triggers of, let's say, 5 copies turns into... Is it an additional? So it turns into 6. So it doesn't matter. So like even her, let's just say I have a base, I can't cast any non-creature spells, and that turns 1 into 2 for 2 mana,
Which is
and then I can double. So, like, let's say if I make a bunch of copies of Harmonic Prodigy because I believe she sacrifices at the end of turn, and then I take an extra combat, and then I make, like, let's say 17 Terror of the Peaks. It goes insane. What do we have here? This was a card I got trades off of someone that is insanely good in this deck, obviously. Perforos, God of the Forge, All-Star and Burn for sure.
I think All-Star and Mono Red, period.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even a good enough Mono Red commander, like with goblins and such. And then something very similar to Perforos, God of Forge, which is Fanatic of Mogus, which
I believe you looped that one that game too.
I did some damage with it that turn. I think the contention was I think I still could have won with Fanatic of Mogus, but I just chose Terror of the Peaks to make sure.
The flying.
Because the great thing about this is that I believe it does it to all opponents. Yeah, to each opponent, which Rionya is already 2 pips, and Fanatic of Mogus is 1, and I would assume, I hope there was a board.
If I remember correctly, I think you were Rotion with like 6 or 7 at that point.
Yeah, which would have
Fanatic on board.
Which would have, and this baby is definitely a gruel goodie. Malignus. Now you think 1 Malignus is bad. Let's just say 5 Malignus is even worse. If someone's at 40. Brutal card, truly amazing. Now the
What about your extra combats?
Yes.
Or your combos, up to you. You mentioned your extra combats, so it'd be awesome to talk about that.
We can do a little bit because I play a decent bit of extra combats. Like the best one is probably Seize the Day, which not the actual best one, but it's close since you can cast it twice for that rate, which it gives you more Rionya triggers, which is hilarious that the extra combats give you more Rionya triggers.
It's like the ammo for the engine fuels the engine.
And then this is also an insane one that can come out of nowhere. Fear the Hordes, being able to cast it for free.
I don't think I've seen you resolve that one.
No, but maybe. No, I think I don't know if I've stole a game with you guys, but I've stolen a game or 2 with this card. And then there's just a classic Relentless Assault, good budget, extra combat card. But the best extra combat things and what leads me to my combos are the creature ones, which with Rionya can kind of just get ridiculous. Let's say the first one is Bloodthirster. Since how it's worded, yes, this original card can't swing at the same player each time, but if you make a copy of it that's a new one, you can just keep taking extra combat steps with each Bloodthirster, which is a 6/6 flame trample that's just going to slowly kill every single person.
They also stack and there were extra combats. It gets to the point where it's infinite, but even if it gets stopped somehow, you still get so many extra combats, it's insane.
Yeah. After it deals combat damage to a player, untap it. Yeah, and there's additional, and it can't attack a player has already attacked this turn, but that does not really matter. And it has trample, which is insane. Even if they have a flyer, they're kind of just screwed. This is also a really interesting one that's like pretty, I would say, very unique to this specific deck, is Lightning Runner. Energy is a mechanic that is not really used at all. Especially in Commander, but making a bunch of copies of Lightning Runner, I think you need, so whenever it attacks you get 2 and it goes 8, I think, and then you can do extra combat, so you only need 4 copies of this.
So in theory then...
So you only need to cast 3 non-creature spells with this, and then you get infinite combat.
Which is not unlikely.
No, with
the amount of cantrips
when I go to the cantrip section, I'll be able to show you that. Then we have the easiest 1-card combo or 2-card combo, however you want to call it, with my commander, is Combat Celebrant. I only need my commander and Combat Celebrant to essentially win the game. Unless someone removes one of the creatures, obviously, but like it is such a brittle card that combos with even a couple other cards in the deck.
So one thing that was really about Rionya and Combat Celebrant personally is that like other decks in the format like that combo so much, they put it in the 99.
Yeah. 2 cards in the 99. It's a 2-card combo that you can just put in a deck that has red.
Which is insane. So like I know Winota runs it. I'm pretty sure a couple Goto may run it. I'm not sure on that one.
Maybe.
And even in the high power, like that power's high power. I have I have a deck that runs it in Boros that's not CDH. You have a couple decks that run it besides. It's just such a good combo.
Yeah, for sure. And then the last extra combat, which is a niche card, but it can lead to what you need, Port Racer. Good orc pirate that gives extra combats on a creature. Crazy. Who would have thought? It's really insanely good. Now I would like to go into, since I focused on a little bit of my combat combos, I would like to go to the sleeper extra combat spells. It's just take an extra turn. This is a altar that my friend Darren had that he traded me, but it's Final Fortune. Takes an extra turn after this one and lose it. Oh no, I'm gonna lose at the end of my turn. Too bad I have a Sundial of the Infinite. Oh, what am I gonna do?
I would also like to hold this altar up to the camera so it can be seen really well, because this altar is gorgeous. It's an altar sleeve, right?
Yeah, altar sleeve.
Hashtag not sponsored, but the altar sleeves, they speak for themselves.
For sure. This is the best one because it's instant speed in case someone's trying to do something crazy on their next turn, and then I can try to win before they do. But obviously the other two, we have Warrior's Oath, which does the same thing, but it's sorcery, and then we have Last Chance, which does the same thing
with a
sorcery.
Big reprinted DMR.
Yes, a lot of these cards are actually pretty cheap. Even Final Fortune,
I think,
is like below.
You run Mana Vault, which is a decent bit of your value. But
yeah, I run Mana Crypt and stuff. But I only recently got that card. But before that, I think for the game, it was about $500 budget. And you could probably scale back to like 300. Just the only thing is like mana acceleration.
Dockside.
But a thing I will go to right now is the neat synergies you can run with and mana acceleration being in Rionya. Because first of all, yeah, we have this dude. Okay, really insane. Who would have thought? Wow, Rionya breaks Dockside. No one's ever done that.
That's a whole new,
whole new combo.
Right,
oh my
there.
Gosh, guys. But like everything from Seething Song to Game Winner, Mana.
Yeah, didn't you Mana Geyser for the win?
Mana Geyser out of nowhere, needed the mana, and it gave me like 15 or something crazy.
We had all 4 players left in that pod, so we all were casting big spells. Yeah. Our dragon player had just went off his turn and tapped out completely.
I needed to win, I was going to lose. But the thing is, all of these are non-creature spells. They are triggering Rionya. So I am making mana, casting a creature that is then I'm going to make multiple copies of, and then swinging at people.
Imagine if Rionya had Rex Sage, how good that would be. Not Rex Sage, Eternal Witness.
Well, if Rionya was Gruul, I would be a happy man. And then there's all of the short mana rituals like Desperate Ritual, Pyretic Ritual, Battle Hymn, which is really cool in this deck with the amount of creatures I have, and then a classic Rite of Flame, and then a card I put in this section, even though it's technically card advantage as well, Jessica's Will. Who would have thought? Jessica's Will is really good. But those...
What I think is insane about these here, personally, is since they all ramp you up where you can get your commander out, they also just fuel your commander in power.
Just so much, and it's so easy to run cards like that. But I'm gonna stay on the ramp side just to show you what's kind of a little bit expensive side, because I recently bought a Mana Crypt, so I've been proxying Mana Crypts in my deck because I can. And our play group is very proxy friendly. But another ramp card that's also really amazing with Rionya is Solemn Simulacrum. This is Pepsi Solemn Simulacrum.
I also have to say that's my favorite art.
For sure. Besides, like, I don't even know. The Masterwork is pretty, but it's not like as just memey as this.
And the Masterwork's just so hard to get your hands on. Like, if I buy a Masterwork Slide Boy, I'm not playing it.
But getting like 4 Solemn Simulacrums in mono red just feels amazing. It brings me back to my Gruul days. Then we have easy Arcane Signets, absolute staple. Then we have a Real Chromox.
The countdown was really good, dude.
Yes, and then we have a Soul Ring. Oh my gosh, Soul Ring, no way. And then we have a this is mainly from when this used to be a Ragavan deck. A Felwar Stone, that's still good, 2 mana.
So correct me if I'm wrong. The day we filmed that video, didn't you take apart Ragavan?
Yes, and I built this, and I still had an Exotic Orchard in the deck, which I forgot about.
And then,
but
which is the thing, you took apart a deck, throw this deck together, and it just dominated those pods.
yeah,
I think that says 2 things. A, it says a thing about the power of the commander itself, but also it really speaks to your deck building ability. I've been playing with you for what, almost a year and a half now, almost 2 years.
I think almost 2.
So yeah, in the last 2 years, I've seen you build a lot of decks, and I truly mean when I say it. You build a lot of scary decks really, really fast. Like, I feel like personally to me, I need 2 or 3 edits to make a deck good. You can sometimes just, like Rionya, you threw it together. I think you changed 3 cards through trades that night, and that was it.
Yeah, I needed a couple crucial pieces, but I had most of everything. I've been adding to the deck over time when it got even more higher powered. But it's a blast of a deck. I don't play it as much, but I'm gonna start playing it again, just because sometimes it can feel a little bit too powerful. Because it's mono red, so it's pretty much like all to the wall or nothing. And when those games, when you get nothing, it feels a little bad. And it can be a little slow burn, but I have enough mana ramp, as you can see in the deck, that it does fine. Like Wayfarer's Bauble. This deck is usually slow enough where Wayfarer's Bauble is still good, because you are still waiting for that burst moment. Around turn 5 to 6, you're waiting for that burst where you just like cast a bunch of things.
You're climbing that hill, and then when you hit there, it's over.
Yeah, over. Then there's Mana Crypt. This is a proxy Mana Crypt, but
your real one is insane too.
Yeah, an insane card. Who would have thought? And this is a Mana Rock technically, but it's really awesome with Rionya.
Best Mana Rock in your deck?
For sure. It is Cursed Mirror, one of the coolest Mana Rocks ever printed, and I will keep playing 3 mana Mana Rocks if they keep making them this cool.
So yeah, Cursed Mirror, Relic of Legends.
Oh yeah, Relic of Legends is insane.
New Lord of the Rings set.
They even made it's a 4 mana dork or whatever, or Mana Rock, so it's kind of bad. But they made a blue one that does something similar to this, but it's not a creature anymore.
And then there's also from Lord of the Rings, it's Task Colors. If you would gain life, you have under 5 life, you gain double. And if you would draw a card, you have no cards in hand, you draw additional.
Yeah, cards. They keep pushing
3 mana rocks.
3 mana rocks.
Which I think is good for the format. Because it makes it slow down a little bit, but we get those value back.
Okay. Now, the weakest section of the deck is for sure going to be the card draw section. So we're going to start off with like a basic thrill possibility. It's looting. It's mono red. It's all you can do. You don't get like the green burst draws or just blue where they just cheat and they're able to draw anything they want.
1 blue draw card.
Then there's Faithless Looting, a fantastic card. Very, very, very good red card. And then we have Wheel of Fortune that they tried to reprint. That's not on the reserve list, but they put 1,000 words on it. So yeah, a really good card. Don't want to explain it.
It's hard to explain.
Then there's Valakut Awakening. I love MDFCs. I think there is like 4 in here, just because they're lands, but also non-creature spells. Which, come on, man.
So you are running 4 MDFCs.
4 Awakening. It's a really good hand refresh, and you always draw 1 card, which feels really good for a land. And then one of a really amazing Rionya card is Humble Defector, because you give people copies of Humble Defector, and guess what? They can't use it. So this is like as good card draw as you're gonna get.
I think this is one of the only decks in our meta, like power level wise, that can play Humble Defector.
Yeah,
it's no downside.
It's too good to give like card draw to your opponents. And then like there's also additional card draw effects, like Jessica's Will, for example, like I showed earlier, and then Seize the Spoils, which you're most likely gonna get card draw from, because Rionya can abuse copying other people's creatures so heavily, and like you could just steal someone's commander and kill it.
With their Marlins.
Which they're not gonna like. So that's the card draw. We went over ramp. We went over extra combats, extra turns.
Let's go over some of your creatures you haven't touched yet.
So we did extra combat creatures.
Yep.
And then what is left is a couple of also value creatures. So of course we got my boy Ragavan, the Chill Sky round, getting those ramp, getting that card advantage. An insane card in this deck, because if you get multiple of these professional face breakers, it just turns insane, because it's like, oh, I'm gonna hit 3 opponents, but I have 4 professional face breakers out, so it's like, okay.
And I think what also adds to the power of that card in this deck is when Rionya makes copies of them, they have menace.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to block
really
those
hard to
copies,
block.
and so you're just making so many treasures.
For sure. Another really cool one which you can abuse the legend role is Atsushi, which can act as ramp or card advantage for 4 mana, which is nuts. And it's also a flying trample 4/4.
Flying trample, it seems to be a theme is that you have your dragon there and then your extra combat.
Yeah, extra combat. But insane. Also, a really good storm card is Bergie. Really good. And then sometimes if I'm desperate on the card draw, I can do her backside, which is card advantage. An insane card, and just modal face cards are amazing. Who would have thought printing 2 cards on the same card is pretty good.
So let's go over your tutors next.
I don't have many. I have Imperial Recruiter because I can copy him, essentially, and get like Dockside, Ragavan, all that.
All the creatures you could possibly want in the whole deck.
Yeah. And then there's also just Gamble, because it's a red deck, and you gotta run Gamble.
Red and Tomb.
Yeah, you gotta run it, no matter what. And then I believe, if I go to my utility land section, I do have an Urza Saga, which does fetch pretty good rocks with this deck at this moment.
Mana Crypt, Soul Ring,
Chromox. And then while I'm there, I will take you through my utility lands, which made the deck a lot more expensive because I've been able to pick up a lot of these lands. I will start with the least expensive one. Myriad Landscape. I love Myriad Landscape. I put it in most decks. It's just a good, like, when in doubt, I just can ramp when I'm not doing anything else.
Really for your early game pass.
Yeah. And then Rogue's Passage, in case I need to get in a base copy of something with Rionya, so that doesn't die. And when games get really grindy and you just need to get in for someone with 5.
Ragavan does a lot of work too in that deck because you get steal opponent's cards.
Yeah, for sure. And then we just have a basic Cavern of Souls. Rionya is a human wizard, and there is a lot of humans.
What else is a human? Combat Celebrant.
Yeah, and just making your 5 mana commander uncounterable is nice. Then we have Ancient Tomb, but we need much needed ramp and having
your 5 mana commander needs the 2
yeah.
colors.
And then we have Gemstone Caverns, which can be rough on the card advantage front, but really good ramp when it can be. Then we have Scavenger Ground. Everyone needs Graveyard Hate a little bit in their decks because people can abuse it.
I'm surprised you aren't running Strip Mine in this deck after what happened in that game.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. And just play indestructible lands. Now the next section I would like to focus on. Let's do removal.
I've got a guess for your removal. Since you're in red, I'm guessing it's a lot of damage.
Yes, always damage. Card I always put in all of my red decks because I barely run any board wipes. Blasphemous Act. Insane. One of the best board wipes out there. Really awful card, but it is a land. Shadow Skull Smashing. It is a land, and I can cast it for eating 0. I don't care.
Would you run it if it wasn't MDFC?
No.
Okay.
Awful. Really good removal. Upgrade, instant speed, artifact removal, and 3 damage. Like, that's just insane. I love this card because no one expects it. Tibalt's Trickery. Now, you don't want to do it against me because one of my friends did it to me and I got an Apex Devastator off of it. So, like, you get pretty bad stuff off of me when you do it. But it feels nice when someone gets, like, I don't even know, like a 3 visits or something.
Or a land.
Then there's Wild Magic Surge, which this deck needs because red can't deal with enchantments. They can deal with artifacts, that's for sure, but like enchantments or pesky lands are hard to deal with. Then the same thing, Chaos War. I love this version of Chaos War.
We gotta show this version art. Like, Logan here gets all the gorgeous cards.
I try
I
my
think
best.
you definitely are one of the top 2 players in our play group when it comes to style points.
I like the shiny. Speaking of shiny, this is a Lightning Bolt, which, come on, it's a non-creature spell and it can be removable. I'm playing Lightning Bolt in a mono red deck.
One of the most iconic spells in Magic.
For sure.
Period.
Another MDFC, which is actually pretty bad, but is also land on the back. But like you can still kill mana dorks and even pesky commanders these days because there's a lot of small commanders.
And it's a 1-drop.
And it exiles if it kills them. And it's a 1-drop. And then a free spell 99% of the time is Mock Salvage, which can get rid of just mana rocks and give you a Rionya trigger, so it's all enough.
So with Mog Salvage, I think it's important to note for us, our play group runs a lot of blue.
Yeah.
We are a very like high power, a lot of blue decks. And so
I would prefer not.
I would love to like just cut blue out of all possibilities.
Yeah.
But I don't think we can at this point in our play group.
Okay. What we have left is we have the cantrip section, which a lot of the cards in like the ramp categories and the card draw categories second as ramp or second as cantrips. I didn't really know where to put this card. It's another MDFC. So I kind of just put it in the cantrip section. It's pretty good. You can gain control of a target creature, copy it, do the same thing Rionya wants to do.
I believe that's how you stole Marlin, isn't it? You did something like it was your
it was a furball, but like this just randomly coming out of nowhere can be good. But there's like all of these cards. Like you're gonna give a certain buff, you're gonna draw a card, and like your plan is to keep looping. Literally, the other effect does not matter. Like Expedite. Okay, cool. Give haste. Doesn't really need it. Rile. You'll deal 1 damage and give trample to it. That can be relevant, but you draw a card. Crimson Wisp. Oh my gosh, your creature becomes red, but you draw a card. Warlord's Fury. Okay, this one's actually pretty good. Creatures gain first strike and you draw a card. Then there's Crash Through. This one's pretty good. Gives trample. And then there's Renegade Tactics. Target creature can't block this turn, so that's pretty good. And all of those draw a card, and I can keep looping and try to cast as many Reunion spells as
What's really
possible.
cool with that too, like when you have Birdie on board, your cantrips, it's free card draw that point.
Pretty much.
It's pay 0 mana.
There's a lot of versions of this deck that run like 15 creatures and just like 50 cantrips. Now, besides like the combat combos and stuff, how we mainly finish the game is these crucial combos. First, we're in mono red. We gotta run this boy. We gotta run my boy Kiki Jiki. Kiki Jiki. I need the From the Vault version. I know, I'm a poser. I'm a monster. But this goes infinite with
a kitchen sink.
I took out these notable cards that I'm gonna put side by side because they're essentially used in the exact same manner. They take control of a creature, they untap it, give it haste, and you can do that with Kiki Jiki, keep tapping and making copies and copies and copies until you essentially can just win.
Hasty Boys.
Yeah, Hasty Boys.
Another card similar vein to that is Combat Celebrant.
Yeah.
We were talking about earlier, it goes into your commander, but it also goes into Kiki Jiki.
Yeah, Kiki Jiki is the second commander in this deck for sure. But they just said, let's make Kiki Jiki a little better. Okay, so a classic mono red combo is Dualcaster Mage and Twin Flame, or if not Twin Flame, Heat Shimmer. Infinite 2/2s with haste. Pretty good. Not the easiest combo to finish, but one of the cheapest combos because you don't even need your commander. I've definitely won a couple games, and I've been in games where I forgot that this is a combo in hand, and I've been able to just take an extra turn and just win when no one expects it. But that's pretty much it of the deck. We want to look at the statistics of the deck. I believe I have about, with MDFCs, because I usually count MDFCs as lands, I have about 34, or 30 lands not counting MDFCs and 4 MDFCs. The mana curve of the deck is 2.7. It could be even lower, but like you're running those big creatures, like you want to run stuff that you want to copy, and that's the biggest thing. But blast of the deck, super low end. All of the mana curve is like pretty much four and below, and then I have like a lot of 5-drops because those are the ones I want to copy. But this deck is a blast to pilot. It's a blast to play, and I don't even think it's that disgusting to play against because usually like it can win in bursts and it doesn't feel as bad and as grindy as some. And usually the turns when I win, because the thing about being fast, I don't take usually super long turns unless it's like that's the turn I am winning.
I believe that in the video, your longest turn of the game was the turn when you did kill Bazaar.
Yeah, because you have to do a lot of math, even though math is for blockers, but it turns out
you're technically a blocker somehow there.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to do the math, but it's a blast of a deck. I would recommend her to anyone that likes red, anyone that likes combat, anyone that likes copy tokens. I love copy tokens. I love clones. I had a Sakashima Kodama deck, which I loved, which was clone tribal. But it's a blast of a deck. It was fun to build, it was fun to play, and I'm glad it does things. Because sometimes you build a deck out of your collection and then it just ends up being really bad and then you dismantle it within a day. Luckily Rionya was not one of those, and hopefully she stays around for a good while. I also love my monocolor decks too, and she will always have a place in my soul and my deck building.
So I do have a question for you though. So down the road, I've been thinking about doing a rule 0 where we have a monocolored deck that we add a color to.
Mm-hmm.
You said you like blue for this deck, and you like green. What would you choose?
Oh man.
Like Prismatic Piper being the partner, so you're.
Man, getting 3 copies of Nixplanation just give me all of the nutrients I would ever need in my life.
So is Nixplanation your favorite card, Matt?
Man, well, I'm telling you, if Apex Devastator wasn't a cast trigger and it was an ETB trigger, then yes. But anything, I love the big mana stuff with green, and there's even a lot of good ETBs in green that you
Rex
could
Sage,
use.
Eternal Witness.
Yeah, Eternal Witness with your cantrips.
That'd be awesome. I guess the last question for me is your deck list is going to be in the comments, in the description of this video. Do you have anything you want to tell the viewers at home?
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you have any questions, feel free to comment on my moxfield list. I'm always open to change, and if you have any ideas or any cool text, feel free to comment, and I will try to respond. I'm on moxfield all the time because I'm a fiend. If you want to look at any other decks, I have like 85 decks on there.
I follow you on Moxfield, and most of my notifications on Moxfield come from you.
Yeah, like every day I just get bored and I just build a deck. Not necessarily in paper, but most of them I have built in paper.
And he builds scary decks all the time.
I try. My biggest strength is green, and I try to step out of that to get stronger in Magic. But hey, when in doubt, if you're playing against a green deck with me, you probably should be peaceful.
So then, my goal when I end a video with a friend in the video like this, I want to end it on top of it. What I think is insane is you've been playing Magic roughly 2 years. I've been playing Magic since 2018, and the decks we build are very close to power level. So, with that, I'll make sure you know you won the Darksaber. Not happy about it. I'll come back for it eventually.
Oh, I'm sure you guys will be able to take it from me, but I'll take it right back.
Alright. So don't forget, down in the description below we will have a link to his Moxfield link in the description. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more videos. If you have any questions for Eugene and you don't have Moxfield or want to comment on YouTube, you can as well. I will make sure to send them back to him. Anything else you want to do before we call it a day?
No, I just hope everyone has a good day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. If it's a holiday, happy holidays. If you have a cool dog named Fred, happy birthday to that dog for some weird reason, because dog needs birthdays too.
Alright, on that note, everyone have a safe and wonderful day, and thank you for joining the content.